Envision, Gaul. The summer of 52 BC, late in the season. A legionary sets down his shovel and looks at what 40 days of digging has produced. They have been here since before dawn.
How long since we stopped digging?
3 days.
Do you think it holds?
We built it. It holds.
A wall stretching in both directions until it disappears over the horizon. Behind him, facing the other way, a second wall does the same. He is standing in the corridor between them. 60,000 Romans, 2 walls, 330,000 enemies on either side. There is no way out. The walls face 2 different directions and neither one is the exit. This was not a mistake. This was the plan. 6 weeks earlier, this plain was empty. Vercingetorix had worked for 2 years to create the conditions for this moment. He united Gallic tribes that had warred with each other for generations.
You ask us to burn our own villages. I ask you to leave Caesar nothing. Our people will starve. His legions will starve first.
The granaries burned. The settlements burned. He refused open battle, choosing terrain and starvation over the engagement the Romans expected. It was working. At Gergovia that spring, Roman assault columns were driven back down a hillside with real casualties. Tribes that had remained neutral sent their warriors to Vercingetorix. Caesar's 7-year conquest looked like it might come apart. Caesar chose to pursue. Vercingetorix chose Alesia. Alesia sat on a hilltop with rivers protecting its flanks and steep slopes on every approach. Vercingetorix brought 80,000 warriors there and sent messengers to every tribe asking for relief. The plan was built on sound logic. Hold the interior while a relief force destroyed the Roman army from outside. When Caesar arrived and surveyed the position, his officers calculated the obvious. The garrison alone outnumbered the Roman force. A relief army was coming. The only rational course was withdrawal. Caesar asked for shovels.
2 walls, 1 facing in, 1 facing out. We are not enough to hold both. Then we build them deep enough that we do not need to be.
18 kilometers on the inside. 21 on the outside, covering the approach ground ahead of all of this. Concealed pit traps, iron hooks set just below the surface, angled stakes to break a charge before it reached the ditches. His men had roughly 6 weeks before the relief army arrived. They were told this was sufficient time. Some of them believed it. Inside the fortress, the food was already failing. Vercingetorix made a decision with no clean version of itself. The people who could not fight, the families of the Mandubi, whose town this had been, were sent out through the gates. They walked toward the Roman line, expecting to be let through. Caesar had already given his order. The gates behind them stayed shut. The line ahead of them did not open. They could go neither forward nor back. Both armies watched from the walls. Neither side moved. The relief army arrived after 6 weeks. Their commanders spent a full day riding the perimeter before committing to anything. What they saw was not what they had expected. Flooded ditches 6 meters across, further channels packed with sharpened stakes. A rampart 4 meters high topped with a palisade and towers. Covering the approach ground between the walls and any attacker. Fields of concealed traps that turned every step into a possibility of impalement. They also found what they were looking for. A northern sector where rocky ground had prevented deep digging. The ditches there were shallower, the rampart lower. It was the one place the system could be broken.
The northern sector.
The rocks stop them from digging deep.
That is where we concentrate.
Everything?
Everything. Everything.
The first assault came at midday. The garrison attacked the inner ring while the relief army struck the outer. The trap field stopped the charge before it reached the ditches. 3 hours, no breach. The night assault was different. They came in silence, carrying bundles of dry branches to bridge the flooded ditches and ladders to scale the palisade. In the sectors where torchlight was slowest to arrive, they crossed. They reached the walls. Some of them climbed, hand-to-hand fighting on the palisade in near-total darkness. In several places, the Roman line gave ground. On the wall the digger had built, a ladder cracked against the palisade an arm's length from him. Caesar rode the interior paths through the night, moving reserve cohorts to wherever the pressure was worst. The assault was eventually stopped. The word eventually matters. It was close. On the third day, they used everything. 60,000 of the finest Gallic warriors concentrated on the northern sector alone. At the same moment, the garrison inside Alesia attacked the inner ring from behind. The Romans were pressed simultaneously from 2 directions against the one point that could not hold. It did not hold. The shallow ditches were crossed. The low palisade was scaled. Roman cohorts began to pull back. The stretch of wall he had spent 40 days raising was the stretch that started to give. If the northern sector fell, the outer ring would be breached and the legions caught between 2 forces with no position left to defend. Caesar had kept his Germanic cavalry unused through the entire siege. Heavy riders on large horses recruited from tribes beyond the Rhine. He had held them throughout, waiting for the moment that until this morning had not been certain to come.
Now? Not yet. The palisade is failing. Not yet. They are through. Then now.
He removed his identifying red cloak so that every man on both sides could see him. He rode at speed along the interior paths of the fortifications until he reached the rear of the Gallic assault on the northern sector. The warriors attacking the palisade had no reason to expect anything from that direction. Everything Roman was visible ahead of them, on the walls. The Germanic cavalry hit them from behind. At the same moment, the Roman cohorts on the walls counterattacked. The assault that had been breaking through stopped, then reversed, then dissolved. The relief army withdrew and did not come back. Inside Alesia, the food had run out days earlier. The relief force was gone. Vercingetorix called his council. The decision did not take long. He rode out the following morning, alone, in his best ceremonial armor polished for the occasion. He carried his weapons to where Caesar was seated and placed them at Caesar's feet. He did not speak. He knelt. The legionary who had spent 40 days digging watched from the wall. The man who had come closest to expelling Rome from Gaul was now a prisoner. 2 years of strategy answered by 40 days of digging. The walls held. The earth held. In 46 BC, 6 years later, Vercingetorix was led through the streets of Rome and executed below the Capitoline Hill. The language spoken at Alesia eventually became French. The tribes became provinces. The walls rotted back into the soil. What built them stayed.